You're listening to episode 125 of the LostTrailRunner Podcast. Hey everybody, this is Ron. Welcome to LostTrailRunner Podcast. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. The LostTrailRunner Podcast is produced every so often. At least that's my goal. I used to say 2 weeks, but you know how that works out. The show notes are found at LostTrailRunner.com. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow me on Twitter at LostTrailRunner and on Facebook. All links are in the show notes. Now let's get on with the show. Today I'm going to be running on the Greenway Trail in Lilburn, Georgia. But first I want to thank Kevin Gwinn and John Fournier for the Sqoosh band that Kevin sent me. It'll be put to good use here on the roads and trails in northeast Georgia. He sent it to me probably 4 weeks ago, and I should have thanked him earlier. But this is a thank you, Kevin. So it's time to get on with the run, so here it is. Well, welcome back to the LostTrailRunner Podcast. I am on the Greenway Trail today in Lilburn. It's a cold day for here, which means it's probably in the 40s, but it is sunny. That's one good thing. And hopefully this setup I'm using will put out a decent recording. I got a new microphone, and when I first got the new microphone, it would only record the left channel. And I sent a message to the people I bought it from, and they said, "Oh, we've got a thing coming out where it'll record both channels," and they sent it to me free. And so, for my first podcast of 2019, I'm using my new microphone on an Olympus recorder, which isn't my best recorder, but it's convenient, so I like it. I've got a couple of recorders. I've got this Olympus, and then I've got a Zoom H1 and a Zoom H2, which are my two favorites. I think the Zoom H1 is my favorite. Then I've got a microphone that plugs onto my iPhone made by Zoom 2, which is pretty good, but it's kind of bulky. Anyway, enough about microphones and recording. What I want to get down to is this year, what I got going, and I renewed my training program with the Galloway customized training, but I told them I wanted to concentrate on short trail races this time. So I gave them 3 trail races and Peachtree to put in the training plan, and we'll see how that goes. I think my longest trail race is only like 4.3 miles, which is just a fun distance. That's what I'm into this year, this time of year. So we'll see how my training goes and how my races go. Hopefully better than last year. I guess I'll just let this recorder. Guess I'll just let this recorder run and then edit out the sections I don't need. That makes sense. Oh, let me see. What was I going to talk about? I had a list of things. Of course, who knows if I, probably things I already talked about anyway. The thing I did want to talk about was running shoes. I haven't talked about them in a long time. Back when I was running good, I got plantar fasciitis, and I think the last bout I had with it was about 2007, so it's been a while ago. And I went to podiatrist and all that stuff and got orthotics made. But the thing that seemed to pull me out of the plantar fasciitis the most was a pair of Nike Free 5.0s that I got. We're talking the 2007 version, and I've still got those. I use them for house shoes now, but I remember I had been suffering with plantar fasciitis, and I was hobbling around, and Peachtree was coming up, and I wanted to run Peachtree, but I was hurting, and the stretching and the orthotics and all that stuff hadn't really kicked in yet, so I really didn't know what to do. And I was reading somewhere, who knows, this is a while ago, but I read something about that the Nike Free was kind of like running barefoot, even though it did have a heel lift, right? So I got me a pair, and I ran that 2007 Peachtree, and my foot didn't hurt a bit the whole race. I was amazed. So I started running in those Nike Frees, and I got over my plantar fasciitis. But then I started wearing Brooks shoes, particularly the Adrenalines. I liked those model of Brooks, and I wore them quite a lot, and with my orthotics, and my foot seemed to stay together, at least for a while. So I wore them for quite a while. And then my foot started bothering me a little bit. And I'd slacked off on my stretching and all the things you're supposed to do. And we're talking probably, 4 or 5 years ago now that happened. Maybe longer than that. About the time Hoka's came out, I guess. But anyway, I started looking at these Hokas, and they had all this cushioning, and my forefoot had been hurting quite a lot. Been taking a pounding with my Brooks. It felt like I didn't have enough cushion or something. There's probably just something wrong with my feet. But anyway, I sprung for a pair of Hokas. I think I got Bondi B's, the original ones. And it was like running on air cushions or something. I mean, it was good. And also my plantar fasciitis woes kind of disappeared. And I started looking, and the heel drop on a Hoka is around 4 millimeters from the heel to the toe, The heel lift is only 4 millimeters. So I came to realize that running in a shoe that only had 4 millimeters of heel lift was really, I think, what was helping me stay away from plantar fasciitis, in my personal opinion. Now, scientifically, who knows? But anyway, I started running with those exclusively. And of course, I've gone through many pairs of Hokas since. And I haven't had plantar fasciitis since. And then Altras came out. And they got 0 heel lift. So I started wearing those also. And on trails, running in my Ultras are just great. Now, on pavement, I've got a couple of pairs of Outtro Olympuses, which are actually a trail shoe, but you can run on the roads with them. And they've got a lot of cushioning. So I run with those, and that's what I ran the last Jeff Galloway half marathon in, was Olympuses, and my feet were fine. But what it boils down to is I alternate between Altras and Hokas now, depending on my mood is what I wear. And like today, I'm wearing Hoka Hupanas, which are really good. They're a good all-around shoe. You can wear them to run in, you can wear them just, knock around, walk in, whatever. So that's what I do.
Lap 1, 15 minutes. Heart rate 115.
Anyway, to get back to the running shoes. As of now, I run in Hokas and Altras. Right now I got some Hupanas on, but I've got
Lap 4, 30.
Talking in the middle of these cadence drills is kind of much. Anyway, I got maybe I'll just talk after I finish the cadence drills. Okay. Okay, where was I at? I'm doing a cadence drill workout. So I did a 15-minute warm-up. Then I did 4 30-second speed-ups, counting my steps, and trying to get around a cadence of about 180, 170 to 180 in that range for 30 seconds. And then walk for 30 seconds and then do it again for 4 times. And now I'm on my cool down, which is 10 minutes. So it's going to give me a 29-minute workout. And I quit talking when I was trying to do the speed ups because it's pointless. Anyway, back to the shoes. Right now, my go-to shoes are my Bondi 6s, Hoka Bondi 6s, and my Altra Olympus, my second pair. I've got 2 pairs, and my second pair is the newest pair, of course. And that's my 2 go-to shoes for long runs, stuff like that. And if I'm doing my short trail races, my shoe is a Altra Lone Peak 3.5 right now. I haven't upgraded to 4.0s. I don't see any need right now. My 3.5s are all like brand new. And if I want to do faster runs on the pavement, these Hoka Hupanos are pretty good shoes. So those are my 4 go-to shoes that I use mostly. I do have a pair of Nike Freeze new ones that I sometimes use those if I'm doing speed workouts. I don't think they're 5s. I think they're called Ultra Distance or something, I don't know. But they're basically shaped like my old Nike Free 5.0s were. And I like those too. And all of the shoes that I wear except the Nike Frees, I wear orthotics in. Okay, what else can we talk about? As I don't know if I've mentioned it in my LostTrailRunner podcast, but I did the Galloway 13.1 on December 9th. I'm sure I mentioned it, but it took a while for the results to come out, and I found out I won my age group. And I really didn't run a fast race. I ran the first 6 miles with Kevin Gwinn and Roxanne Baggett and Scott Perkinson. I think I've mentioned that before. And then and we were doing like run 10, walk 30 for the first 6 miles. And then after that, I left them and I started running, I think, did it backwards. I think I went to 30, 15, run 30, walk 15. And did that for the rest of the race. And I gained some time back that I lost in the first 6 miles, but not that much. And I ended up running like a 3:10. I think last time I ran it in 2017, I was injured and I was going to do the virtual, and then I never did. So 2016, I ran it, and I won my age group that year too. And I think I ran 240 something, which is still slow. But I was, I did a 3:10, but I still beat the second place person by close to 20 minutes, I guess. He must have been running about the speed we were when I was going with Kevin and Roxanne and Scott. Because I think his finish time was like 3:31 or something, and that's right around when they finished, I think. So I gained about 20 minutes picking up after 6 miles. So my record for the year is I ran, I think, three trail races I can remember. I came in second in 2 of them and won my age group in 1 of them. And at Disney, at the 10K, the Wine and Dine 10K, I came in second in my age group.
Heart rate 119.
And then I came in first in my age group at the Galloway 13.1. So all I've got scheduled going forward is those short trail races I mentioned. I think one of them is like under 3. I think it's 2.8 miles. And one of them is 4.3 and the other one's 3. And then of course Peachtree's 10K. And I think I have them scheduled in like March, April, and May or something like that. So Chris Twiggs has just given me a new schedule this last week, and I started off with a bang. I missed my first 5-mile run. I was going to do the 5 miles, but I had the opportunity to get my grandson for the weekend, so I jumped on that and skipped the 5 miles. I figured I could not be hurt too bad by it, because my schedule started like on a Thursday or maybe Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think he scheduled my first workouts. So this week I'm in right now is really my first full week of the new training program. And I noticed that most of my long runs are 5-milers for about the first 3 or 4 weeks, alternating between just 5 easy and 5 with 3 miles in the middle at race pace.
10 minutes.
Well, my workout lasted 29 minutes. A little over 29:31, because between the 15-minute warm-up, when you finish the 15-minute warm-up, you actually have to hit the lap button to switch to your Cadence Drill. And it took me about 31 seconds to realize that it hadn't switched. So I got an extra 31 seconds of running there. So this year in my podcast, I'm going to try to go over things like my running shoes and how I haven't rated those shoes yet. problem I have rotating back and forth between Hokas and Altras is the Ultra has a wide toe box. It's really wide, so your toes can splay out and be real comfortable. And then when I go back to the Hokas, it feels like I'm getting my toes squinched together, It's not uncomfortable, it's just different because the Hoka's toe box isn't wide like the Ultra is. But so far, both of them, I hear a motor. I wonder what that is. Anyway, both of those makes of shoes are like number one on my list. I very seldom ever wear Brooks anymore. And back in 2008, I guess it was, in that range, I was in the Brooks ID program for a year or two, which they gave me discounts on shoes and running singlets and shorts. Your racing outfit had Brooks ID singlet and all that. And then they did away, well, they didn't do away with it. I ended up being too slow to be in it. So they started a new group called Brooks Fanatics, where all the people, I guess, that weren't as fast and weren't elite runners, they put in that group. And that went on for about 4 years. And every year you got a shirt that said Brooks Fanatics, had different patterns on it, like run, eat, rest, repeat, that kind of stuff. And then they did away with that program. Well, I can tell I'm back to the start because there's the hum of this perennial whatever it is. Every time I come down here to run, particularly when I'm running with Laura, we start recording right here at the start. And this hum in the background is always on there. So we just ignore it. I don't know what it is. There's a fence right next to the trail here, and on the other side I think there's an industrial area or something. So whatever that thing is, might be a big fan, I don't know, but it's just noisy, interrupts my podcast. Thanks for listening, and if you get a chance to subscribe somewhere, you can subscribe different places. It's even on iHeartRadio now. It's on iHeart. It's on Spotify. It's on Spreaker. It's on Stitcher. Of course, it's on iTunes. So you can pretty much listen to it anywhere. Even though it's an unprofessional podcast and it's just me running and talking, I'd appreciate it if you continue listening. And I'll see you next time, okay? Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's podcast. We'll be here next time. Keep the emails coming in and be sure to subscribe.